The ink was barely dry on the administrative orders in Washington when the logistical machinery of the world's most formidable superpower began to pivot with calculated, industrial precision. Inside the high-security corridors of the Pentagon, the quiet hum of data processing and the rhythmic stamping of classified procurement authorizations signaled the commencement of a transfer of hardware and capital so vast in scale it has no modern parallel. Across the sprawling naval yards of the East Coast and the high-tech munitions corridors of the American Southwest, rows of inert, gray-cased interceptors and crates of advanced avionics were being prioritized for immediate transit to the Mediterranean. The atmosphere was one of clinical, urgent efficiency, as the United States Department of Defense prepared to move the equivalent of an entire nation's defense budget in a single, concentrated surge of military capability. This was not simply a localized adjustment to a long-standing security partnership. It was the strategic fortification of an entire regional theater through the largest military aid package in the history of the United States. According to official statements released by the White House and the Department of State, the primary actor in this historic escalation, the United States, has authorized a $38 billion emergency assistance framework designed to ensure Israel's qualitative military edge for the coming decade. U.S. officials claimed that the package includes the immediate transfer of 50 additional F-35 Lightning II stealth fighters, thousands of joint direct attack munitions, and a massive infusion of capital for the joint development of laser-based defense systems. Military spokesmen stated that the claimed target of this massive investment is the restoration of regional deterrence, specifically aimed at neutralizing the escalating threat posed by long-range ballistic missile development and asymmetric naval capabilities in the Levant. According to government representatives, this action means symbolically that the American commitment to Israeli security remains ironclad and structurally immune to the shifting winds of domestic political cycles. Strategically, Washington maintains that by flooding the theater with advanced kinetic and defensive technologies, it creates a massive cost imposition on any adversary attempting to alter the regional status quo through conventional or proxy force. But the story quickly became far more complicated. Before we break down the specific advanced weapon systems included in this unprecedented transfer and the hidden diplomatic cost of such a massive commitment, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest dramatic developments shaping global geopolitics. We are committed to bringing you the most measured and expert analysis of these rapidly evolving events as the security architecture of the Middle East undergoes a fundamental and perhaps irreversible shift. And your support ensures we can continue to provide this depth of coverage during times of escalating international crisis. According to regional monitoring groups and official reports from opposing capitals in the Middle East, the narrative of a defensive necessity is being challenged by claims of a flagrant expansion of military hegemony. Opposing officials stated that the infusion of $38 billion in high-tech weaponry constitutes a destabilizing force that effectively removes any incentive for diplomatic de-escalation in the region. Analysts noted that the sheer volume of interceptor missiles and bunker-busting munitions allows for a much more aggressive preemptive posture, which critics claim could trigger the very regional war the United States says it wants to avoid. To understand the technical context, one must recognize how the qualitative military edge functions. It is a statutory requirement where the U.S. ensures Israel has the technical superiority to defeat any credible conventional military threat from any individual state or possible coalition of states. Explained in plain terms, this means that for every advancement made by a regional rival, the U.S. provides a counter capability that is 2 generations more advanced, such as the Iron Beam laser system, which is designed to intercept drones and rockets at a fraction of the cost of traditional missiles. Despite these American claims of stability, international observers noted that the move has already prompted high-level consultations between regional powers seeking to procure their own advanced systems from Eastern markets. Between these narratives lies a complex reality that analysts are still working to understand. What does this historic aid package mean for the long-term balance of power in the Middle East? The answer is the total synchronization of American and Israeli defense industrial bases into a single, dominant technological bloc. The $38 billion package is significant because it prioritizes the deep-tier defense of Israel, specifically targeting the ability of regional actors to saturate defense nets with swarms of low-cost drones or precision missiles. This matters because the named locations of these defense manufacturing hubs in Tel Aviv and Haifa are now directly linked to the production lines in Texas and California, creating a seamless supply chain of high-end munitions. Attacking or threatening the security of this partnership carries strategic weight because it forces every other regional player to recalculate their own survival strategies in the face of an insurmountable technological gap. By committing to this scale of support, the U.S. signaled its intent to remain the primary arbiter of Middle Eastern security for the next 20 years, irrespective of its stated desire to pivot to the Indo-Pacific. The message was clear. The United States will provide the physical and financial architecture necessary to maintain a dominant, pro-Western military status quo in the Levant at any cost. The cascading consequences of this record-breaking aid announcement began to ripple through the international system within minutes of the televised address. Immediate military reaction was observed as the Israel Defense Forces initiated a series of large-scale readiness exercises in the northern Galilee and the Negev Desert, while regional adversaries conducted high-profile tests of their own tactical missile systems to signal their continued defiance. This mobilization triggered a chain reaction where regional governments in Amman, Cairo, and Riyadh were forced to navigate intense domestic pressure to either secure their own security guarantees from Washington or risk appearing marginalized in a new military landscape. That spike in military spending has consequences far beyond the borders of the Levant. In the global markets, defense contractor stocks saw an instantaneous surge of 6% as investors brace for a decade-long production cycle of F-35 components and interceptor batteries. Oil prices saw a marginal uptick of 2% as traders assessed the potential for a heightened state of friction in the shipping lanes of the Eastern Mediterranean. Military costs rose. Procurement budgets climbed. Security expenses surged. Diplomatic channels are currently operating under extreme duress as the United Nations and the European Union convene to discuss the long-term impact on regional peace processes. Middle powers in the region are facing intense pressure to choose between their long-standing security ties to the West and the emerging technological and economic partnerships offered by the East. In the United States, domestic political reaction has been a display of unified intensity at the leadership level, with both parties in Congress fast-tracking the necessary appropriations, while a growing minority of lawmakers has begun to question the impact of such large-scale foreign spending on the national debt and domestic priorities. That political friction has consequences for the future of bipartisan consensus on foreign policy. The United States maintains that the $38 billion aid package is a vital and defensive measure to protect a critical ally and ensure the stability of the international rules-based order. Opposing authorities maintain that the move is an illegal and aggressive expansion of military force that will only lead to further cycles of violence and regional instability. As the first transport planes loaded with advanced components prepare to depart from American airbases for the flight to Israel, the world is left to wonder if this infusion of power will truly bring the promised deterrence or if it will catalyze a massive regional arms race. The transition from a seasonal security agreement to a historic, multi-decade military architecture marks a turning point as significant as any since the original Cold War. Will this military aid package remain a successful pillar of deterrence? Or is it the beginning of something far larger? Stay tuned for further updates as this situation continues to develop. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss the latest dramatic geopolitical developments shaping the world.